Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmasi Mimir Rossi Ruspas Mordechai. Breakfast is sponsored by Ari and Chavi Davis in honor of Meir V'Rebbe, Rebbe Eli Shlita returning rejuvenated from the Shabbaton. Also in honor of our new granddaughter Lior Rivka, daughter to Yehuda Malki Mazel Tov. Yehuda has single-handedly pioneered the new MDY Northwest London hub. Be'ezras Hashem should be very matzliach. Here's again, even though this is from last night, but Benny Rudnick, who did so much for the daf, put together hundreds of hours for an amazing Shabbaton. And whoever didn't come could still do Chuvas HaMishkol and be part of it next year. Be'ezras Hashem, we're going to be in a larger hotel. The success was out of this world. People walked away on such a high, unbelievable. Speak to anybody that was there. You'll see it was a big shame. Whoever didn't make it, a big shame. Gil, you were there. Barely spoke to you. So I thought I was the only one that didn't make it to the water. It turns out that 90% of the people didn't, but right before we left, we made a brach on it, and we went weiter. Here we go. Good morning, Rabbi Isai. That was Shimi Braun and his son. It was beautiful. Pasha beautiful. Givaldik. This we don't need to see the second. Rabbi Isai saved the date. Some of the Israelis, it's a Pella. People flew in from America to be at the Shabbaton. The people that live here, no. And it's not about the money, because you know that when things are important, when you need a little therapy or whatever it is, you find the money for it. When something's important to you, you find the money. We're not talking about crazy money here. 2,500 shekel for a couple for the whole Shabbos. You know that MDY had to pull out of their own pocket to make it happen. It's not the money. So, and if it is the money, start saving up now for next year. Put away 200 shekel a month, and you'll have an experience of ruchnius and gashmius like you've never had before. Parsha Shmois, January 9th in America. Save the date. This is actually an animated picture. Check a look. Unbelievable. Oh, the one and only Shlomi Klein made a chasana, Mazel Tov. The usual suspects, Peretz Chaim Levin and Akiva Ziegler. And this was, okay, I think I showed this already. This is Kobe doing the shir. Check this out, everybody. It's Chabad Lubavitch, Staten Island. We already have 9 chevra. Who's going to be the center? Thank you, Rabbi. Thanks for a Shabbos of Roimimus, Umatzima. I'm not going to go translate these words. This is exactly what I needed before Rosh Hashanah. We came back. This is Kobe Sela, who gave a Chamisha Chumshei Torah Shnayim Mikra to every single guest. 100. Oh, you were there also. Yeah, thank you. In the room. Everybody got one in the room. Okay. Should I read this? Oh, he's just saying that he's from Yerucham and he found the daf, he loves it. This is an interesting one. David Moser from Geva Binyamin Adam. I'm almost a year with the shir. I just want to tell you that last year, Yom Kippur, he was mekabel on himself a new Kabbalah after he saw status. This all came from a status. It was in Daf Kuf Ches, in the beginning of Yesh Noichel and Bava Basra. His Kabbalah was he's not going to go to sleep before he finishes that day's daf. And therefore, he found himself during the year, hours that are not hours, finishing up a daf. Doesn't matter where he was in the world, doesn't give up on the daf. That's how an entire year went by without missing a single daf. I finished almost Bava Basra, Sanhedrin, Makkah, Shavuos, Avodah Zarah, and soon Horayos. This is the first time in my life that I'm going to be finishing Shnayim Mikra V'Echad Targum with Rashi. My son, 9 years old, Ariel, started Makkos. I was able to finish up Masechtas Bava Basra from the beginning while I was on vacation. My entire house, my entire family, everything changed. The reason why I am Mishatef, how you say Mishatef? I'm sharing with everybody. It's because we're coming close to Yom Neroim, and my whole story started with a status from one person that didn't realize what kind of influence he's going to have on my life. And my idea is to bring another sanegar. How do you say sanegar? Advocate. Oh, it's a good word. For Yom Adin. So we're starting a new Masechta. A new, sticking in here, a new Seder Kachim. Everybody in MDY, please put it in your status. Talk to your friends. Turn to those who are lost and are looking for direction. Give them another advocate for Yom Adin. All right, thanks for all the chesed. And here's a picture of my son Ariel, who snuck in one of the shiurim. David Moser from the Yishuv, Geba Binyamin Adam. Oh, one last one here. I believe that everybody in this group, this was written in one of the WhatsApp groups, got a tremendous Chaskas HaTorah during Shabbos at the Kinar. This is the place to thank all those who work days and nights, and more nights than days, that should turn out to be mushlam, complete. How do you say? Perfect. It was perfect. But I could, if I want to be mesakim the Shabbos in one sentence, this Shabbos changed my life. I'm here from the beginning of Bava Metzia without missing a single daf. I brought a lot of people to the daf, but after Shabbos I realized I have to bring more people, so I set myself a thing. This is Panovich math, Rabbi Yisai, 101. Every day of the week, I'm going to bring at least one person to the daf. Today, I brought 3. And tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem, I'm going to bring 5.
He's going to do 400,000 by
Exactly.
Shooting for the stars.
So anyways, thanks to all the organizers. This is the Shabbos that changed my life. Shuki Yaakovson, Nekudat Tzviah, Ramat Daled. He opened up a place in Ramat Daled. He has over 10 people already. He just opened up a week ago or so. One thing I'll tell you from the many people that came to the Shabbaton, I think like 170 couples, the women, it was an unbelievable influence on the women. Shapsi Cohen's wife told me that when she came for Shabbos, she was sure that her husband is Meshuggah, he's part of a cult. All he does the whole day, he speaks about the daf. He says, okay, he's part of the cult, Nebuch. She walks in, she sees Kobe Sella with an MDY tie. She said, I'm right, and this guy's with the MDY socks. But within 15 minutes, she changed her whole opinion. She was crying during Shabbos, the whole thing. And she realized, and a lot of people told me the same thing, their wives were, now they understood what the whole hak is, and now they feel more part of it. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Eli Stefansky, Shalom Aleichem. From? New York. Shalom Aleichem. One more picture of Yochanan Itzkowitz at his chasana, and guess who's there? David Salmon, dedicated in memory of Avi Mori, Reb Shmuel Baruch, Baruch Chaim Tzvi, Doi Zichron Levracha. I'm saying it because a lot of the women, I hear this all the time. My wife doesn't want to go, she doesn't know who she's going to speak to, she doesn't feel comfortable, and then it turns out that the wife felt very comfortable, and she felt part of it, and v'chulu v'chulu. The Masechta sponsor anonymous, Latzlocha Baruch Nizu B'gash Yischus Achinu B'nei Yisrael. Joel Gedalis, Leading Nishmas, my father Jack Gedalius. Monthly, anonymous from London, Latzlocha B'Parnasa. Anonymous, Zechut B'Fu Shlomo for Shlomo Binyamin, Halevi Ben Rivka. No better way to ask for it. Baruch Hashem. Monthly sponsors, TCS Israel Power, Talk and Save. Anonymous for Fu Shlomo, Sarah Bat Motaram, and Shira Bat Sarah. Aaron Kessler, none of the marriage of my son and my daughter, and my relocating to Eden Gardens in Orlando, Florida. Anonymous from London, Latzlocha B'Parnasa. Wait a minute, didn't we do that before? Anonymous from London, Latzlocha B'Parnasa is a monthly. And here, I guess it's a mistake. Fine. Daily sponsors, Marvin and Linda Diamond. I mean, it's good to daven twice for him. Fine. But that's for the editors. Marvin and Linda Diamond. The Nishmas Louis Tolchin, Moishalei Ben, Rabbi Yitzchak, Yardside, 14th of El. Parienti. Double. In memory of my dear uncle, Haim Eliyahu Ben Masuda, marking the conclusion of the Shiva. Anonymous, in honor of the Rav and Meme King Yochanan Klein and his Rebbetzin becoming grandparents. Yuda Rusik and Daf Review Chevra. The Daf Review Chevra in honor of Rebbe Chonan Pressman and family. Somebody sent a picture of his car. It's getting crazier and crazier. Then people say, why? Whatever. You see all the magnets, then you know why the wife thinks that he's in a cult. MDYR monthly. Refuah Shleima for Yonatan Eitan Ben Bashev Bracha was with us for Shabbos. Refuah Shleima, he's here. Where is he? Oh, here he is. Shalom Aleichem. Refuah Shleima Mordechai ben Esther. Refuah Hayeled Daniel Zev ben Ayelet Esther. Shalom Aleichem. Tell everybody your name.
Eli Asher.
That's a good thing because I was going to call you Eli.
I know, I specifically said Eli.
Can't be Eli now.
No, it's good. I just don't want to keep them around.
You don't want to compare. Eli. Where do you live?
Deal, New Jersey.
Deal, New Jersey. Shkoyach, we missed you on this trip. You were on the first one. Do you remember that funny caver that was next to the Megala Mukas? Benny didn't remember. He didn't even know that we were there. Okay, fine. Rabbi said we're in a brand new parak. Brand new parak. Until now we're talking about when Bezdin makes a mistake and Klal Yisrael does the Aveira based on the Bezdin. Now I have something very, very different. We have the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol, similar concept. There's a whole pasuk about the Kohen Gadol doing an Aveira. When he does an Aveira, he also has to bring a bull. The Aveira is similar to the Bezdin in that he rules, he says this is the halacha, and then he does it. What if the Kohen Gadol, and we're talking about a Mashiach here, let's show this, let's get this clear. It's called Kohen Mashiach, which means he's not Mashiach, it means he's the Kohen Gadol who had the oil anointed, he poured the oil on him. This only occurred in the first Beis Hamikdash, second Beis Hamikdash, there's no more oil. So this halacha doesn't apply anymore in the second Beis Hamikdash. It has to be Kohen HaMashiach, Kohen HaMashiach. This Eliyakim from the Koilel told the artist to do this, whatever. It's based on a true story. A guy showed up, dressed up this way. He's like, what? You don't know what I'm dressed up as? Here it is.
התחפשתי לשוטר.
Not this.
למה התחפשת,
This is
חמוד?
it.
אתה לא רואה? לפר, כהן, משיח. אני התחפשתי לרב עלי.
The Par, Kohen, Mashiach. I don't know what he said over there. Talmud Bebavel, it says, backwards. Great. Anyway, so there's different halachas, similar but very different. Hayra Kohen Mashiach la'atzmai shogeg. This Kohen Gadol, we'll call him the Kohen Gadol. Usually Gadol Adar knows how to learn. He paskins that this is the halacha. This type of chaylev, the chaylev that's on, the keva, whatever, the dakin, that's mutter. By mistake. Vasa shaygig. And then he went ahead and he ate it. Maybe par. That's a classic case. Now the Gemara is going to ask, what's the big chiddush? There's a pasuk, so obviously that's a classic case. Shaygig va'asa mezid. This is interesting. He once learned in yeshiva, he came with a whole shtickle Torah that this particular chaylev is mutter. But right before he ate the chaylev, he decided it's aser. He realized it's aser. In other words, he realized he made a mistake in yeshiva. It started out as a shaygig, ends up as a mazid. We had these funny cases the other day, b'parel and davar. Did it ever happen? I doubt it. So he's amazed. If he's amazed just because he made a shaygig, he ruled earlier. Shaygig, obviously you don't bring a carbon for that. Now, mazid v'asa shaygig, if he deliberately said the halacha is you're allowed to eat chaylev and he knew very well you can't, v'asa shaygig, then he came home and he was in the mood of shuman. And he asked his wife for shuman and she gave him chaylev by mistake. So a regular Jew would have to bring a carbon chatas. He made a mistake. But he's a Kohen Gadol. In that case, he's potter. You don't have the Par Kohen Gadol, the Par Kohen Mashiach, because he wasn't a shaygig. He was amazed to begin with. He didn't have a Ariel, he didn't have a good psak. The psak that he made it for himself had a flaw to it. What's the flaw? It was a mazid psak. That's not a good psak. It has to start off as a shaygig. And the fact that he was a shaygig at the end, he's not a regular human being. He's a Kohen Gadol. So if his wife served him the wrong thing, he doesn't bring a carbon like a regular person. He's not a regular person. He's a Kohen Gadol. So he's potter. So Yiraz Kohen Mashiach la'atzmai, Kohen Yiraz Bezdin l'tzibur. Just like the tzibur, we had the whole parak, the first parak of Horayos, is when the Bezdin makes a mistake. And then Klal Yisrael, based on their mistake, also makes a mistake. That's how it has to be with the Kohen Gadol. He has to make a mistake in the psak, and then he follows his own psak by mistake. But if there's any mazid in the first step or the second step, there's no Par Kohen Mashiach. Right? Because let's think about it. If the Bezdin deliberately says to Klal Yisrael, you're allowed to eat chaylev, and they know very well you can't, then you're not bringing a carbon. There's no parallel davar. Shoygig v'asa shoygig, maybe par. So the first part of the Gemara says, listen, I don't even know why it has to be in the Mishnah. Isn't that the pasuk? Here, let's see the pasuk for a second. Why not? Im hakoyin ha-Moshiach. So we know now, Mashiach is not Mashiach that's going to come redeem us. Mashiach means he was anointed. And it says at the end of the pasuk, he brings a par. Asher yechta, he does this, he brings a par. What does a typical Yisrael bring when he does a chet and he's Michal Shabbos by mistake? What does he bring? A sheep. A chat, a sheep. Over here it's a par. It's similar to par elam davar. So what's the chiddush? It's interesting. The Meshech Chacham says that how's it like he's the Gol Adar? He's making a mistake here. So he says what happened was that, and he says it's merumas in the pasuk. What happened was he messed up on his Karban Yom Kippur. So what happens is Hashem is megalgal that he makes a mistake in halacha, and that's the pshat in la'ashmas ha'am. It says la'ashmas ha'am. It's to show the nation that he messed up on Yom Kippur. Let's do this whole thing. That's his inside tip. What happened over there? Omar Abai. So what's the chiddush over here?
The chiddush is that he brings a par as opposed to regular chatas.
But that's a pasuk. It's a first pasuk. Kohen Mashiach par here in the pasuk par. What's the case? Just shoygig. Okay, like why can't you just say the halacha klar so that everybody in yeshiva knows? Okay.
You sort of said it, but I don't know if it was clear that he doesn't bring a chatas at all.
Yeah.
Is this chatas?
Right.
No. When there's a mazid, when he starts off mazid and he goes to shoygig, he brings zero.
Right.
No chatas as a Yisrael, no par as a Kohen Gadol. That's something else. We're talking about the first case, shoygig and shoygig. A regular case, he started off shoygig, he made a halacha, he passed in shoygig, then he goes and he does it b'shoygig. So he brings a par. Isn't that what the Torah is talking about? That's the typical case. Or Abaya, no, it's not typical. He made a psak and he forgot why he did it. Person learned years ago, they say this about Rabbi Yashiv, you see many times people asking questions, he said, look, all I know is that when I learned the sugi, I had tremendous rayas and this, and I came up with the halach. This was, today I don't know exactly, you asked me good, yeah, it's a good kasha, you asked me, I went through the whole sugi, I came at the end, I thought about your kasha, I had a good raya. He also, 15 years ago, he's in Koilel, he learned the whole sugi well, he came up that this type of chaylev is mutter. Today, you ask him, he has no idea. But based on what he did, I think it's important to think about it for a second. And as I say this, maybe we'll have somebody that's brave, because in the Hebrew shir, nobody stepped forward. I was hoping somebody, at least in the Hebrew shir, maybe somebody do tshuva today and step forward. If you think about it, I think every single person in this room does things only because he did them when he was 15 years old, he started doing them. And today, that he's in his 40s, 50s, he still does them. And if he thought about it for one moment, he'd say, why in the world did I do this? The classic example is, you have this, here we even I asked Shlomo to do something for this. A girl watches her mother make a roast, and the mother cuts the roast, she cuts off the ends, it should have been the ends, and she puts it into the pot. Later on, when this girl grows up and she makes her own roast, so she does the same exact thing. Takes the roast, she cuts the ends, and her husband asks her, why do you do that? She says, my mother did it. But it turns out that her mother only did it so it could fit into the pan, the small pan. She had a larger pan. And sometimes you do things, you have no idea what you're doing. I was at my friend's house for Havdalah, and he's a nice guy. He's a very calm person, and he walks in, and the Havdalah wasn't on the table, and he like goes, he like bangs on it. He says, "Where's that? I don't understand. I came home and the Havdalah is not on the." So like afterwards, like what's going on here? It's not. He says that's what my father did the same exact thing. Every day we'd come home, and it's like normal for him to like. Then he's like, wait a minute, you're right. Maybe it doesn't have to be on the table. Maybe I should bring it out. It's whatever. V'chulu.
I still brush my hair.
Exactly. But anyways, I think whether it's ben adam l'chaveroi, or ben adam l'makayim, or whatever it is, just a weird you don't even know why you do it. A guy did scream out. He goes, "There's a certain shul that every time they did Moedim D'Rabbanan, the whole shul turned around, almost like by Bay V'Shalom at L'Chadaydi, they faced the door of the shul." And they asked me, like, why? And then one day when they removed the wallpaper on the back wall, they saw there was a whole Moedim D'Rabbanan plastered on the back. Things like that. You don't even know why you do it. You don't know. You yell at people. You're this at people. You put your thing like that instead of like that. And then you think, wait a minute. Just because I did this, for the last 20 years doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. It becomes your own minhag. Your own minhag.
Pinky during Hanukkah.
Oh, somebody said also yesterday, some people they do Eis Shalom, they take 3 jumps. It's like, and where did that come from? Where does it say in any sefer 3 jumps? It's just like, okay, the pinky, because it's also the point. In America, you don't point. It's very not polite. So you're going to point at a sefer Torah? Anyway, you ever had that Israeli friend that comes to America and you're like, who's that guy over there? Like, put your hand down. You don't do that in America, especially to a non-Jew that looks a little different than you. Mazeh? In the subway. Zok the Gemara. Yeah, so what happened over here was, he has no idea. He eats chaylev. Why does he eat chaylev? He made a psak once when he was younger, dumber and younger, and he didn't know. And then it just continued his whole life. He does this. This is what he does. I'm not joking. I know somebody. I used to daven next to him. He has a minhag. He doesn't even know that he skips the entire first paragraph of Aleinu. No, a regular guy, but this is how he did it when he was 13, 14, 17, 25, 45. You listen to him, he just skips the entire paragraph. He just gets to the bottom. He doesn't even know. He no clue. Show you what's amazing. Maybe so this guy also, he doesn't even know. He doesn't know why. So the Gemara says, I would actually think this is amazing. This is a guy that is amazing. Maybe he shouldn't bring any carbon. Maybe today you would rethink the whole thing and you'd say that it's not, chaylev is not mutter. Maybe it should be like amazing. It's on the side of amazing. You shouldn't be chayiv a carbon because the carbon is only when you do b'shayim. Kamash and he brings a carbon. Next, mezid v'asa shaygig. If he paskin deliberately that chaylev is mutter, even though he knows that it's not, and then he did it b'shayig. So the Mishnah says that the Kohen Gadol is similar to Ariel davar, which we already discussed. That if the Bezdin does it deliberately, they paskin wrongly on purpose. They don't bring a Ariel davar, even though Klai Yisrael did it b'shayig. How do we know this by a Kohen Gadol? How do you know the same halachas by a Kohen Gadol? The Tanur Rabbanon la'ashma sa'am. Harei Mashiach Ketzibur. Okay, so this is very important. From these 2 words, from this pasuk, Lashma Sa'am, I know that a Kohen Gadol is similar to the Here, it's in the pasuk of a Kohen Gadol. Im HaKohen HaMashiach Yechta Lashma Sa'am. What does it mean Lashma Sa'am? To the, I don't know how to translate. How do you say Lashma? To the guilt of the nation. Fine, call it the guilt of the nation. He made a chet. What does that have to do with the nation? So there's a connection between him and the nation, between him and the tzibur. And then Mela, he operates with the same rules as the tzibur, that if it starts off as a mezid, he doesn't bring a par. Now the Gemara just goes through, and this is cool, what the Gemara does. The Gemara says, why do I need a pasuk? I can figure this out on my own. V'haloi dinu. Isn't it a kavachomer, or not a kavachomer? I can just do a memetzinu. If this is how it is by the tzibur, that's how it should be by Kohen Gadol. So the bottom line of the Gemara's question is, why do I need 2 words, Lash Masam? Now what? Tzibur, top of Zayin Amud Aleph. Tzibur mutzah b'klal yochid. Tzibur is not like an individual. An individual that does an avera brings a chatas. A tzibur that does an avera based on the bezin, the bezin brings a par, or maybe every shaver brings a par. Machlokes we learned, Remeir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon. But it's different than the yachid. Umashiach, and the Kohen Gadol is different than the yachid, mutzah b'klal yochid. He's also very different. Why? Because the nasi, Mashiach mutzah b'klal yochid, mat tzibur ein chayavim, elo el helam davar im shigas maisa. Oh, so this is something very, very simple, but let's get this clear. There's something called helam davar v'shigas maisa. Where was it? Here. All it means is, helam davar means that Bezdin made a mistake. Helam davar, they forgot it. Shigas maisa is a shogig. That the nation did a shogig. You could have, by the way, the left side. Shigas chatas. That is, I walked home, I asked my wife for food, for shuman, and she gave me chaylev. That's a shigas chatas. But that was without the helam davar. It was without the bezin pasking that chaylev is mutter. You have helam davar, bezin first paskin, then Klal Yisrael did what bezin told him to do. So that's a shogig. That's a typical case of par helam davar. Yeah? Helam davar, shigas chatas. The bezin made a mistake, and then Klal Yisrael went ahead and did it. B'shogig. So tzibur ein chayavim. When does the bezin bring this par helam davar only al helam davar when the bezin made a mistake? Im shigas maisa when the nation went ahead and did it b'shogig. Af Mashiach lo yechayev elo al helam davar im shigas maisa. Why do I need lash masam? I can learn it straight from the tzibur. Just very, very simple. Here, just to make it visual. You have the Kohen Gadol in the middle. We can learn the Kohen Gadol from the tzibur. The tzibur over here has certain things that it's similar to the Kohen Gadol, and the bottom line is on top. It says you need a helam davar, you need the bezin made a mistake, and shigas ma'isa yechayev. On the flip side, the Gemara is going to say, well, wait a minute. He's also similar to the nasi. Nasi is like the king, the one in the not the nasi of the sheva, the king, the melech of Klal Yisrael. Let's call him the nasi, the head of Klal Yisrael. He brings a carbon, his own carbon, different than when everybody brings a sheep, he brings a bull. But he brings it when he makes a mistake. Not that there's a hayra and then a mistake. It's not a helam davar and then a mistake. It's a mistake. Straight to the mistake. Instead of an individual bringing a small little animal, he brings a large one because he's the nasi. That's the only difference. In terms of the par that he brings. There's 3 paras, the par helam davar, par Mashiach, and par nasi. So the nasi is different than the other 2. So says the Gemara, wait a minute, who told you to learn? The reason why you need a special pasuk, lash masam, so mehecha tasted to learn from the left. Maybe I'll learn from the right. Perhaps I can learn from the nasi. Nasi mutzah b'klal yachad. Nasi is also different than a regular individual. Umashiach mutzah b'klal yachad, and the Kohen Gadol is different than an individual. Manasi maybe b'shigas ma'isa, but like helam davar. Oh, you don't need a helam davar. You don't need a mistake of the bezdin. You don't need a mistake of the Kohen Gadol. Maybe the Kohen Gadol makes a mistake. Like before we said, there's a case where the Kohen Gadol makes a mistake and he doesn't bring anything. No, maybe if he makes a mistake, he should bring something. Mashiach maybe b'shigas ma'isa, but like helam davar. No, time out. Shamshi is right. Maybe I didn't say it well enough. When a Kohen Gadol, he's a Kohen Gadol that received an ointment, and he goes ahead and he makes a mistake on Shabbos. He's Mechal Shabbos. He thought that it's not Shabbos today, or he thought that this. He doesn't bring a carbon. I'm pretty sure you don't bring a carbon in that case. He's a Yachid who doesn't bring a carbon because he's a Kohen Gadol. The only time he brings a carbon is if he paskin that it's mutter, and then he went ahead and he did it. Then he brings a bull, not a sheep.
What is possible?
I think no, he's not a yachid. He's no, because he's not a yachid. He's not a yachid. I'm pretty sure he's not a yachid. He's a Kohen Gadol. He's a Kohen Gadol. Yeah. No, but did it means he had a shaygig. Paskin means I hold that this is mutter and I'm doing it now. That's my shaygig. My shaygig is after I paskin. I went through the sugya. I know it's Shabbos today. And I know that this milach is aser, But this part of the malach is mutter today. Hachnas is mutter, not itzah. I came up with I went through the whole Torah, I went through the whole Shulchan Aruch, and I made a psak. No. And even if it is, you don't bring on regular shogeg, you don't bring anything. On Hayra, that's what we're talking about. You need a Hayra, you need a Helam Davar. You need a Hayra, which is a psak, that this kind of Melecha Shabbos is mutter, and then I go ahead and I do it, then I bring a carbon. Those are the rules. And that's exactly what the Gemara is asking now. Who told you need that part, that you made a psak? Maybe he made a mistake. He Pasha forgot that today is Shabbos. It happens. You wake up in the morning, you have no idea where you are, and you hit your alarm clock. I don't know what you do. You don't know it's Shabbos, right? You got your keys, you go into your car, and all of a sudden you see all the people at the Talais, and you're like, oy vey, it's Shabbos. So maybe for that you should bring a carbon. Like that, a Nasi would bring a carbon in that case. Not a regular carbon, you would bring a giant bull. But you're the Kohen Gadol. You don't bring a carbon when you make a mistake. You only bring a carbon when you paskin that you're allowed to drive to shul on Shabbos. And then you get in a car and you drive on Shabbos. Maybe, Manasi, you see this? 6 lines from the top. Manasi, maybe Vishigas Maisa. A Nasi brings a carbon when he makes a mistake without a psak. But lo yehelim davar. Av Mashiach, maybe a Kohen Gadol should be the same thing. Maybe Vishigas Maisa, but lo yehelim davar. That's why this is. Maybe it should be like the right Shigas Maisa Chayev, not Helam Davar im Shigas Maisa Chayev. It's a very different halacha. She says, "Near lemi daima." Let's see. Who is he more? Who could you compare the Kohen Gadol to the right or to the left? Tzibor bepar ve'imevim asham talui. You see, on the left side there's a par. Now the asham talui. You see this little guy over here? Remember, he was hanging by a hanger. Should I remind you guys? Here, this guy. Asham talui means that you do not vary. You don't even know if you did it or not. So you're hanging. You don't bring this guy. Now, this is important to remember because the Gemara is going to ask, how do I know you don't bring him? And it's actually from just doing a little chazara, a preempting. The Gemara says the only way I know he doesn't bring it is because of this pasuk lashma sa'am, but that comes afterwards. That's what the whole question of the Gemara is, why do I need lashma sa'am? And the Gemara says, you tell you why you need lashma sa'am, because he's similar because he doesn't bring Asham Tali, but how do I know Asham Tali? Only from lashma sa'am, so you go in a circle. So, kids, so this Asham Tali we're going to bump it. It's not important, this Asham Tali. That's what the Gemara says at the end. The bottom line is that we're trying to find why is the Kohen Gadol similar to the Tzibur. That's enough for us. Happens to be also Ve'imevim Asham Tali, but that comes later from another pasuk. And therefore what? Just like the tzibur, you need a psak from the Sanhedrin that says you could eat this chaylev, and then they go ahead and they eat it. So to the Kohen Gadol, when he himself makes his own psak, and then he goes and he eats the chaylev. Maybe I should learn the Kohen Gadol from the right side. Nasi maybe when he worships Avodah Zarah, this Nasi, this Melech, he brings a female goat. Maybe Asham Vadai, and in certain situations he's going to bring a Asham Vadai. Rabbi, I got to tell the Olam because it's mamish any day. We're starting Zvachim. Here's an advert, they call it in London, from Dov Harris and his friends. It's not a joke. It's mamish starting Tuesday. We got to bring people. We got to bring at least 3,000 English-speaking people to Kachim. And we have to explain to them, most people didn't learn Kachim. Here's an opportunity to jump in. I don't know what you say there is, what it's not. The Shiach is coming any day, and we have no clue what to bring, and what to do, and how it works, and what the Avodah is. Here's our chance to learn. It's Kishmaka stuff. I was going through it today. I had such hana. Every daf is half the size of Horayos. I'm not joking. Look it up. Some of them, Daf Aleph was literally two lines. I don't know what I'm going to do in terms of how do I fill up for it. We'll have to just a lot of mices. I'll figure it out. Those are the daf I'm going to go over like Shachris 8:17. Not joking. It's not a joke. Daf after daf. Geshmak moed. One of the hardest Shabbos I had in my life this week, just because of the length of the daf. It's just hard. There's no this speech, that speech, and I'm going and I'm not sleeping, falling in. Crazy. Unbelievable. The amount of words here. ChatGPT let me down. I asked ChatGPT, what's the average word on Horayos? I want to see if he knows. Oh, he says 800. Lie. Mamish a lie. It's 1200. So he starts making a cheshbon. There's 8 words per day. He makes his own cheshbon, but he has no clue. No clue. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to Zvachim in 1 week. And tell your friends, they got to come. But here we go. There's like a little bit of Zvachim here. There's Asham Vadei. We know what Asham Vadei is. When do you bring Asham Vadei? Because there's a carbon called Asham Vadei. Mashiach and this Kohen Gadol, maybe Seira, he brings this female go by this kachav. He's very similar, you see? Like on the right side over here. Well, not this thing. Somewhere over here. There you go. Asham Vadei, you see, he's a Vadei. He knows for sure. I don't know, Yoshi put him with weights. And he has a female goat. Givaldik. Or maybe Asham Vadei, Manosi, maybe we should get some Maisa. And the Nasi has a special halach. He's like a regular individual. That if he makes a mistake in halach, he thought today is not Shabbos, he thought it's Sunday, or he thought that this malach is Mudar Shabbos, he brings a carbon. Yes, it's a different carbon, but he brings a carbon. Av Mashiach, so to the Kohen Gadol, maybe we should get Maisa. Oh, therefore, after all this, since I don't know if to go to the right or go to the left, learn from the tzibur, learn from the no. So I push this button right over here. Boom! I'm going to go to the left. Why? Because the pasuk says Lash Masam. The Kohen Gadol is similar to the nation. Ariel, Mashiach Ketzibur, Matzirein Mivel Davar Mshigis Maisa, Abshir maybe Ela Davar Mshigis Maisa. You need 2 components. He makes the wrong psak, then he does it. Ema Matzibur Hayra Vasu Achra Bayrasa Chayam. Maybe it's similar, just like the tzibur when the bezdin paskins. What's Hayra? The bezdin paskins, and then you listen to the bezdin. You have to bring a par. A lot of people, when we started this parak, I see in your eyes, I see what you're thinking. You're thinking that a Kohen Mashiach, he's like a bezdin. He throws out a psak, and the whole Klal Yisrael listens to him. No. It's about himself. But how do you know it's about himself? He himself made the sin. Maybe only his aveira that he did, he brings a chatos. Maybe al mashachotu acher has nothing to do with Klal Yisrael. Now we're just going to go into this little piece. This Kohen Gadol does not bring Asham Tali, and if you look here, you see there's a big X on the Asham Tali. How do you know? Because it says by Asham Tali, what does that mean? That he made one mistake. He was a shogeg. Yatsa Mashiach. No. We just discussed the Kohen Gadol. It's not one mistake. There's 2 components. He has to, in order to be over, he has to paskin then over. He's not just over the aveira. It's 2 things. And how do you know this Asham Talui? Lash Masam. So let's do the quick calculation. You ask me, why do you need Lash Masam? I can learn it from logic. What's the logic that here the tzibur doesn't bring Asham Tali? And how do I know? Because Lash Masam. So why do I need Lash Masam? I didn't get to Lash Masam yet. I'm asking, why do I need Lash Masam? Not after I know Lash Masam and there's the Asham Tali. So the Gemara says, yes, not important to understand exactly what I just said, because maybe I don't understand it myself. No. So I'll repeat. The whole Gemara is, why do I need these 2 words, Lash Masam? Let me learn it out of logic. And what is the logic? Because the Kohen Gadol is similar to the left guys, not the right. What's the similarity? Because the left guys, they don't bring Asham Tali. And how do you know that they don't bring Asham Tali? Because it's a Lash Masam. Oh, so you already have Lash Masam. You already need Lash Masam. So what do you tell me I don't need Lash Masam? I can learn that from logic. I can't learn that from logic because I need Lash Masam. So the Gemara says, Lash Masam, we're not even holding by Lash. We're before that. Before, I'm trying to figure out if I could learn a Kohen Gadol without the pasuk of Lash Masam. Ela Asham Kedinaz, but you're right. Okay, we just threw it in as something else. But there's another raya because they bring a par, and he brings a par. Whereas on the right side, it's a goat, not a par. So we just, for fun, we threw in Asham Tali, which really is not a great raya because that only comes afterwards. Okay, fine. Next. If the Bezin also made a bad decision and they told people they could eat, the Gemara is going to discuss. Let's say they said you could do Avodah Zarah. I don't know what. That's an example. And he said you could eat chaylev. So he's by himself, and he did it on his own. So he brings the par. What the Bezin Paskin, something else has nothing to do with him. Oh, but when does it have to do with him? Hoira imatzibur. What if he paskin that the chaylev of the keva is mutter? It just so happens to be that the Sanhedrin also paskin the chaylev on the keva is mutter. He's mechaven bar shikivanti on a shtos. He made the same mistake as the Sanhedrin. So then he doesn't bring his own par. Then he could piggyback on the Sanhedrin's par. This is a whole sugya that we learned. The Bezin never uproots an entire halacha. They say that when you do have a desire, let's say, when you bow, you're allowed to bow shalei kedarka. You're allowed to bow like this instead of getting on your knees, or whatever we said, yeah? Or that you're allowed to bow to the par, even though you're not allowed to. They thought par is only when you relieve yourself, and they said, oh, you're allowed to, it's only relieving, you're allowed to bow. And they made a mistake in that, part of it. So to the Kohen Gadol, he's not uprooting a whole halacha, only a part of it. Fascinating, Aruch HaShulchan brings the Yerushalmi. I thought it's very cool. What if the Sanhedrin says you're allowed to eat the chaylev on the keva? That's a part of the halacha. That's a typical parallel davar. Comes the Kohen Gadol and says, you're allowed to eat, I'm allowed to eat, the chaylev on the other side. And together, he just abolished an entire halacha called chaylev. Does he bring a par? And the Yerushalmi says, no, he doesn't. Because he just abolished an entire halacha. Because based on the Sanhedrin, and based on him, even though he only did 50%, let's say, it's mitzaref. Yeah, I thought it's fascinating.
How about the other way? If the Kohen Gadol said it first and then the Bezdin.
I don't think it makes a difference. Ah, you mean... And then he goes and does it. Right here. Interesting.
He holds by tzitzis, but not the chaos.
Okay, so what? Just chelos strings. Oh, we have a whole lot to do. And that's the halacha of Avodah Zarah. That, and then I when we said that he did it the Beshinoi, it has to be Pishu Yadayim Meraglayim, so I showed the video. So on Shabbos, Reb Braverman said that he watches the shir every day. He was phenomenal, and he said he was in the taxi and he's laughing to himself. So he showed it to the driver, and the driver almost went off the road, and the driver told him he can't watch it in the car. A whole ma'isa, shahaya. How do I know this? If the Kohen Gadol did the same avera as the Sanhedrin Paskin, I would think that he should bring his own carbon. V'dinu. Same kind of idea that we had before. Nasi mutzim klal yachid. A nasi is different than the individual. Mashiach mutzim klal yachid, and so is the Kohen Gadol different than yachid. Manasi chadav b'fnei atzmi, maybe b'fnei atzmi. Just like the nasi, the king, when he does an avera, he has to bring his own carbon. But if he coincides with the rest of the Klal Yisrael, he could rely on their carbon. Maybe he should be similar to the Kohen Gadol. He doesn't have to bring anything. He could rely on the tzibur. We actually have thing. I don't know if this helps or just confusing a little bit. Here, you have the nasi. You have a Kohen Gadol similar to the nasi. When he does a sin, he brings his own carbon. You have the tzibur. No, nasi is not a good place to learn from. Why? Because when nasi is different. You know, he always uses the tzibur. He's always considered part of the tzibur, but Kohen Gadol is not part of the tzibur. Where do you see that on Yom Kippur he goes and he has the same karbanis like the tzibur, whereas the Kohen Gadol has to bring his own karbanis on Yom Kippur. A little bit of arichos, Horayos style. Since he's not part of the tzibur, so maybe he should bring his own bull. Talmud Loimar, so it says by the Kohen Gadol, al chatase shechata, he should bring for his own chet, haketzat chata b'fnei atzmai, maybe b'fnei atzmai. If he did it, if the bezin was not involved, he did his own psak and his own avera, he brings a par, chadim atzibur. But if he did it based on what the bezin said, miskapelim atzibur, he goes together with the tzibur. Hechidami. So what's the case where Kohen Gadol does his own psak? Who is he? What is he? What kind of Kohen Gadol is he? Ilema du mufla v'hein enu muflaim. If he's the greatest, it's like mamish. I got to say this: the famous Reb Chatzkel Abramsky in London, right? He was in court, and the judge asked him, "Are you the mufla?" Because they said that are you the greatest rabbi? He says, "Yes, I'm the greatest rabbi in Klal Yisrael." So the judge said, "But Rabbi, please, a little humility." He said, "I'm under oath. I have to say it the way it is. I am the greatest." He's the greatest. He's greater than them. Of course, he does his own thing. What the Sanhedrin passes is nothing compared to his psak. So he's the real psak, and he did a bad thing. He should bring a carbon. And everybody else that listened to them, they should bring their own carbon. But if he's not a great Talmud Chacham, so why does he do his own thing? His psak is nothing compared to their psak. Amud Beis. No, he was great, they were great. They're all great. And that's why he brings this thing. Abai wanted to say, so what's the case? They're in two different cities. So what's the pshat in the two different cities? Because the L'chayra is saying that if they're in the same city, and the Bezin heard his psak and they didn't say anything, then it's as if they're masking to it. It's their psak, not his psak. They didn't say anything. They didn't make a macha. They're in two different cities and two different halachas. They're not connected. Sanhedrin passing chaylev is mutter, and he passing, let's say, blood is mutter. The Gemara is going to describe. Does it have anything to do with the place? Even if they're in the same city, since they're passing on two different isurim, the Gemara is going to describe what exactly the two different isurim are, but it's considered that he did it by himself. He had nothing to do with the bezdin.
It's the same sock in two makanos. He didn't hear there.
Because Rabbi says that the makom is not goyim. No, we don't care about the makom. That's exactly what he's saying. He said, I don't care about the makom. They're global, specialists in international financial services, anonymous. Anonymous in gratitude to rebellion, MDY for promoting Achdus Yisrael, B'Ahavas Yisrael. Pshito. So what are the two things? Who b'chaylev? The Kohen Gadol says chaylev is mutter. They say an element of Avodah Zarah is mutter. Then of course he's on his own. Why? They come from two different psukim. One is Avodah Zarah, one is chaylev. And they bring different karbanas. What are the different karbanas? He brings a bull, and they bring a bull and a goat. But wait a minute, they bring a bull, and he brings a bull. So maybe it's the same. No. Because they bring a goat, and he doesn't bring a goat, so it's very different. And certainly, and if you flip it around, before it was them chaylev, he Avodah Zarah. No, if he does Avodah Zarah and they do chaylev, it's the same averis, but it's the opposite. He decided that Avodah Zarah is mutter, and they decided chaylev is the Sanhedrin said chaylev is mutter. The chalukim are the same like gamri. Now they completely have different karbanas because there's nothing similar. He brings a goat. Just a goat, and they bring v'iru bepar and just a bull. They have no connection. What if it's two types of chaylev? They said this is the carbon shava. Listen, at the end of the day, chaylev is chaylev, and you bring the same carbon. Keeping the betray kroik also. But at the end of the day, how do you know these two chaylevs? From this pasuk right over here. It's a chaylev machasa es a kerev. It's a chaylev asher al kerev. The purple and the red are two different halachas. It's two different psukim. Given the very kroikos is coming from two parts of the pasuk. Pelgin b'tamayu. So they have different psukim. Oidil mashem chaylev echad. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's chaylev. Intin salem mashem chaylev echad. And if you say that's not considered passing different than the bezdin, they're saying the same concept. Chaylev is chaylev. Hu b'chaylev v'him b'dam mau. What if bezdin said blood is mutter? And he said chaylev is mutter. Now I want to show you this video. Tell me what's wrong with this video. They said blood is mutter. You have to look closely. There's a good hefsher there. Blood drink. And look, it says kohen gadol in the hefsher. Kohen gadol. Now what's wrong with this? What's wrong? Tell you what's wrong. What? You did make a bracha before, and it's Coke. You don't know. You have to be down with Kav Schus. Says Rashi, I'll tell you what. Rashi says very beautiful. You can't pass in that there's no Isser Dam, that you let it drink out of a can, blood. That means you're Oiked Davim Min HaTorah. So what is it? It's in the meat. It's Muvla Be'ivarim. It's Muvla Be'ivarim, meaning that the Tzdukim don't agree with this. The Tzdukim say that blood that's in the Ivarim is mutter. That's a typical case of Ariel Davar. Not that I told the artist to do that. He did it, and I was like, wait a minute, it's against halacha. It's against the Gemara. It's against simple pshat in the Gemara. So okay, so we made it into a question and answer thing. But don't get confused. Don't say, oh, I remember that thing, and that's what dam mutter means. Okay, at the end of the day, it's two different psukim. Tamayu Palgina, or they have the same exact carbon, so maybe it's not a different psak than the bezin take. Next, let's just get to the Mishnah at least. Shem bezin chayovin ad sheyoyru levat the mixes the guy mixes. Bezin is only chayiv when there's a little bit. Yeah, so we already had this in the other sugim and all that sheyoyru levat the mixes the guy mixes. How do you know that they can uproot an entire mitzvah like this dam say the dam is motor? Like we learned in the first bag. It's only part of the mitzvah, not the akira of the whole aveira, the whole mitzvah. V'chein HaMashiach, the Kohen Gadol doesn't bring a par unless he wanted to uproot part of the mitzvah. Minolan. How do I know the same thing applies to the Kohen Gadol? The Chsiv la'ashma sa'am, Hari Mashiach Ketzibur. We learned, like we saw before, that the Kohen Gadol is similar to the nation. Avodah Zarah is different than all other Averas. Why? Because Avodah Zarah, what kind of carbon do you bring when you do Avodah Zarah? Par and a Sayr. So maybe Avodah Zarah is different, that even if the Sanhedrin says that you're allowed to do Avodah Zarah today, they were arguing the whole mitzvah, maybe they should still bring a carbon. No. So this is also a halacha that we learned before, a limud that we learned before. We learned by Avodah Zarah the word me'enei. It's like Zer Shava. And by Ariel David says me'enei. Bezdin, two things. First of all, talking about the Sanhedrin. There's not a full akiras mitzvah. There's no akiras mitzvah. Boisai, have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.